Good afternoon. Are we still energetic? We awake? Or are we waiting for happy hour? Happy hour? Okay, I'll be done in 2 minutes. Does that sound okay? No, I'm just kidding. I have way too much fun up here, so let's have some fun. And I'm sorry, obviously I do not speak Portuguese. So I hope that my message comes across really well today, because I actually find it to be one of the most important messages that the world needs right now when it comes to AI. So let me introduce myself a bit more before I talk about what I'm going to talk about. I obviously come from the United States. I live in the Rocky Mountains in Utah. I have a big family. I'm married with 5 children. Yes, 5 children. The younger 2 only care, what is dad bringing me home from Brazil? So I've got to bring a Brazil soccer jersey or something like that, right? So what are we going to talk about today? Now, for me, one of the most important factors in the world of AI is the human. In fact, where most organizations are struggling right now is not with the technology and the AI, right? The AI is amazing. The tools are amazing. But 90 to 99% of people did not go to school for a background in data or AI. And so when we try to deploy these solutions to our organizations, they struggle not because you didn't build something really well, but because the human has been left out. So let's talk about a few things here. I'm going to go over 3 sections, and it'll only take about 2 hours. Just kidding. We'll be done in about 30 to 40 minutes, and I'll bring Guilherme back on stage, and we'll close out. But I want to talk about these 3 things. Number 1, the organizational pivot. What I mean by that is, what should organizations actually be doing to get this right? Number 2, we're going to talk about the democratization of AI and literacy skills. I had the opportunity recently to speak with the speaker from Davos, the World Economic Forum. And one of the top 10 insights that she brought to the conversation was the skills gap. In order for AI to actually succeed, there is a massive amount of literacy that we have to take on. And then finally, we're going to talk about what I call engineered intelligence. Now, you're going to find my slides are very simple. I don't like a lot of things on my slide. I want you to envision you and I are having a one-on-one conversation. And when an idea or a thought comes into your head, write it down, type it into your phone, because I hope that through these next 30 to 40 minutes, I leave you with 1, 2, or 3 things to think about when you leave here today. So let's talk about this organizational pivot. What do I mean by this? Well, the data in AI space for years has always had these new things come along that are going to solve everything. In 2012, the sexiest job of the 21st century was the data scientist. And then companies went out of their way. Watch, I'm going to walk all over the place. I hope that's okay. Companies went out and hired data scientists not knowing what to do with them. So, came along machine learning, big data, all these different things. And then in November 2022, a very significant thing happened. AI became consumable by the masses, and that was ChatGPT. And for a few years now, we've been trying to make AI work, but we've been doing it wrong. Currently, the state of AI has a few different things that are going on. Number 1, I talked about this. The skills gap is not very small. The skills gap is really big. By show of hands, and I can kind of see, how many of you went to school or university for AI? I don't know if I see one hand. Yeah. If none of us at a data an AI event, went to school for AI, what do you think that means for AI solutions? Number two, agentic AI is the latest buzzword. There are three types of AI that I like to talk about. Number one, we'll say, is generative AI. Number two is predictive modeling. It's been around for years. Does anybody know when the term artificial intelligence first came out? 1956. The first chatbot was in the 60s. This has been around a very long time. And finally, there's agentic AI, which is where the AI autonomously does work for us. Next, I call it talent velocity. Right now, around the world, organizations are trying to figure out, do I hire for skills or do I hire for degrees? And finally, I'm going to skip digitization of emotional intelligence for a moment. But ROI, this is the big one. When companies invest in something as big as AI, they expect to get their money back. But it's been shown for ROI to really work, it's about a 1 to 2 year time horizon. Now, let's talk about emotional intelligence, being human. AI is the digitization of data, but what has been forgotten is us. And so we need to start seeing AI be able to digitize emotion. Now, there's a lot of hype, a lot of fear, and then there's reality. Some of the news would have you think we will automate everything. Nope. Sometimes we think the more data we get, the better the models. Not necessarily. There's a difference between being efficient and being effective. What if we're efficient and getting more efficient in the wrong thing? That's a problem. AI is objective? No, it's not. It has bias built in. And finally, and this comes to the human, implementation has become about the technical. Now, there's nothing wrong with thinking AI implementation needs to be technical. But if 99% of people are not AI professionals, to implement AI correctly, we need to focus on the 99%. So the organizational change is a human change. It's a mindset change. It's a shift. One of the things that's been forgotten for a long time with AI and data is change management. Every new tool we try to implement, every new dashboard we try to implement, all of it is change. And if 90 to 99% of people aren't data and AI professionals, that change can fail. We need to view AI as our partner, as a colleague, as someone we work with. I like to call it AI is my PhD partner that sits on my shoulder, that has an advanced degree in everything. So I allow AI to do things that allow me to be more creative, curious. We need to work out our mental muscles. I'm going to go to the bottom two. I want you to start viewing AI from the perspective of orchestration. I'm a huge nerd, and guess what? Sometimes all you need is Microsoft Excel. You don't always need AI. We need to look at it that we are curating and solving problems effectively. To do that, we have to close the skills gap. Now, what does that look like? The goal should be a future-ready organization. I'm not going to read all of that, but I want you to focus on one part. AI needs a combination of human-AI sympathy. AI needs to be about the human, not the technology. AI is great. We've had 2 nerd fun-filled days, but we can't forget us. In this state, the organization doesn't just automate the past. We rethink the past and do things differently. Now let me ask a different question. How many of you have busy jobs? Raise your hands. Everybody's hand should be up. What if I told you one of the things we should do with AI is automate the tasks we don't want to do so that you can be more strategic, so you can be more creative? We have to critically think on what the AI is doing. So how do we get there? Now, I know that Priscilla spoke earlier, and I love that I got to meet Priscilla in person down here. And I know she mentioned me. I didn't understand. But something near and dear to me is the world of literacy. I was lucky enough to help invent data literacy back in 2016. And it's never been more important than it is today. So when we're talking literacy, what does that mean? Does it mean we all need to become technical? Does anybody here really want to learn how to code a large language model? Or do we want to understand how to use it to not only be effective in our jobs, but also in our lives? I hope that you're using AI in your life too. So how do we close the skills gap? How do we become more human in the age of AI? Well, number one, if you know someone who is really good at AI, ask them to be your mentor. I mentor multiple people because I think one of the things that we need to remember in the age of AI is we're all a team. We're all a part of this same earth. I travel the world talking about these things, and everywhere I go, I meet amazing people who just want to learn how to do this. So find someone that you can mentor and find someone to mentor you. Number two, I want you in your organizations to create learning velocity. What I mean by learning velocity is AI provides us the opportunity to learn quickly and effectively. It's one of the number one ways that I use AI. Even here on this trip, when I did not speak Portuguese, I took a picture, I put it into my AI, and said, tell me what that says. We should be using AI everywhere. Now, it's really interesting. Right now, there's a great book out there called Stolen Focus. And the author's name is Johann Hari. In that book, we learn the attention span of a teenager is only 90 seconds. I have 3 teenagers, pretty accurate. Adults, we're not much better. 3 minutes is what we can do to focus on a task. So when we create learning around AI, don't think you can teach a 4-hour workshop and keep everyone's attention. Create micro-learning, ways for people to learn better. Create an AI sandbox for people to experiment and try new things. By creating that sandbox, you create mental safety. One reason people won't use AI besides fear or lack of knowledge is they don't want to mess up. In your organization, if people fear messing up, we've got work to do. We're going to mess up all the time with AI. Create ways that you can build personalized learning paths. I might be a chief AI officer, which is my day job, basically, but not everyone needs to get to my level. And so what we need to do is meet people where they are and challenge them to think differently. And finally, at the very bottom is one of my most important points. Everybody has a seat at the data and AI table. Everyone. But just because you sit down to eat, the food doesn't jump in your mouth. You have to be the one to feed yourself. So everybody has that seat. So let's talk about building out the right skill set and the right way to create the human layer when it comes to AI. And these are my 2 definitions, data literacy and AI literacy. Data literacy is the ability to read, work with, analyze, and communicate with data. The most important one on here, most people say, is communicate. But it's actually read. And the reason for that is, if you can't read data correctly, how can you do the other 3? But communication is the key to success. If people cannot communicate effectively, we're in trouble. Another good book, I read a lot, another good book is How Minds Change by David McCraney. And he teaches us that data will not change someone's mind, and it doesn't. Stories do. So we have to get good at storytelling. Then AI literacy for the masses is that ability to prompt or use AI, evaluate what it gives us, and then make decisions. How many of you have heard the term AI hallucination? I'm going to guess everybody. How many of you worry about AI hallucination? Some? I don't worry about it. I worry about the end user that doesn't think about it, doesn't evaluate it, and thinks the AI gave it truth. AI is a reflection of us. It is also based on probability, not a one-for-one. So we have to teach people to critically think on what the AI gives us. Now there's a new term that is gaining momentum, right? We have IQ, we have EQ, now we have AQ. And this is something companies are hiring for, a person's ability to use AI. That's all it means. So for us to be able to use it, we have to close that skills gap. Now, how do we build the continuous learning that people need, right? I want us to think. The top data detectives that exist on the planet are children. The best AI and data detectives are little kids. I've got 5 kids. How many questions do you think I get on a regular basis? Now, I'm the dad who tells them never stop asking. even though I tell them to shut it sometimes. As adults, for whatever reason, we have stopped asking questions. So I want you to look at my 70-20-10 rule. In order to learn data and AI, when you create that safe sandbox, 70% of learning is experimenting. It's trying, it's testing, it's figuring things out. 20% is social, a workshop, a video. 10% more formal, which could also be the workshop. I talked about our attention spans. We don't have long attention spans, so create micro learnings. Now, when we want continuous learning, a lot of people who talk to me say, I don't know where to start. Guess what I tell them? Go into your favorite AI model and say to it, I don't know where to start, and see what it says. A little background with my family, my 16-year-old son, he's a gourmet chef, and I'm not kidding. He's also a power lifter, and he uses AI to experiment, recipes, his powerlifting regime, all of that. My favorite sport is rugby. I coach rugby at the University of Utah. It's my favorite sport. I've used it to be specific and say, I need to develop something. What is it I should do? So think about everyone that you work with. Those that are trying to figure out how to do this, but they don't know where to start. Tell them to find one of their business problems and ask AI, what should I do with this? Next, cognitive unlearning. I want you to think about that one for a minute. What is one thing you yourself can unlearn? Whether it's misinformation, bad data, the old way of doing things. Let me share a prime example. Now, my beard is nice and white now. My kids tell me I'm old. Years ago, I worked for American Express. And not long after the big financial housing crisis that we experienced, I was monitoring and building analytics around delinquencies and write-offs. And I inherited a report that had over 70 PowerPoint slides in it, that had over 100, maybe 20 charts in it, that went to the chief risk officer of the company. This thing stressed me out. So I eventually took all of that and I built it into 6 total charts that they could view on their phone. I stopped sending the big one, only sent that. How many people do you think requested all 120 plus charts? 0. I had to unlearn what had been built to come up with something new. AI affords us that opportunity to rethink, to drive new. And I find that to be one of the greatest things it can do, to allow us to be human. Now, the next two go hand in hand. Years ago, I came up with what I call my 3 C's of data literacy: curiosity, creativity, critical thinking. Curiosity, radical curiosity, is about asking questions. How well do we ask questions? I want you to think about how many new questions you ask every single day. And if it's not 5, 10, or 20, get practicing. Number 2, creativity. How many of us have hobbies, activities that we would love to do more of? We better, right? AI can do that. To allow us to be more creative, I want to challenge you to do something you used to do as a kid. What I do, I love poetry. I literally read and write poetry so that my creative muscles don't get weaker. And then number 3, maybe the most, well, I think curiosity is the most important. But number 3 might be the most important in business. We have to critically think more than we do. What I mean by that is AI can provide answers that look real, that look amazing. But if we don't critically think, it might hallucinate, it might be false. I have a worry. My 5th book came out this month. I have a worry that just like going to the gym, what happens when you stop? You lose what you've built. We as humans, literally, I believe, are losing mental muscle. I don't think AI started that. I actually think social media did. But AI is making it worse. If we are not working out our mental muscles, our ability to use AI and make better decisions, not just in business, but in our life, gets in trouble. Last section. So, engineered intelligence is this term I now have that I introduced on LinkedIn, but it is a part, maybe a main part you could say, of my 5th book. I think right now there's a battle happening between human intelligence and artificial intelligence. Which is better? You may have heard the term human in the loop. I think that's too vague. It's too ambiguous. So I came up with and used this formula. Engineered intelligence, truly combining the human with AI. So it is no longer human versus AI. It's 2 parts technical, 2 parts human. Engineered intelligence equals data plus AI plus IQ plus EQ, or emotional intelligence. And I think that's the most important one. Data, AI, and IQ are all very logical. But do you know what it doesn't bring in? Context, emotion, nuance, and so forth. So when you think about how do I become more human in the age of AI, please do not forget IQ and EQ are critical to the data and the AI itself. So how do we look at this? How many of you fear massive job loss with AI? And I want you to be honest, I do. Not because I think AI truly can replace so much. I think we're witnessing right now companies thinking it can replace humans at mass scale. One company, Box, which is, I think the CEO is Jack Dorsey, the founder of Twitter, recently laid off 40% of its company for AI. Guess what it did about 1 to 2 weeks later? Started hiring some of them back. Salesforce decided to replace a lot, I think it was 4,000 people, from its customer call center. Has made a mistake. So we need to view this not as replacement, but partnership, augmentation. So how do we do this? It's accuracy and reliability. It hallucinates. We as humans can determine the accuracy of the AI. How many of you in your organization have years of experience? Probably a lot of you. That's institutional wisdom and institutional context. For example, in my day job, one of our biggest clients is Delta Airlines. Through Delta Airlines, we have something like 77 different amendments for its contract. We have people that have been on that account for a very long time. The data in AI doesn't catch all that. So it doesn't matter what model I build around Delta, I need the human. Think of it as a PhD partner versus the perfect robot. It's funny, the #1 movie I get asked about that we're heading towards, I'm asked, are we gonna head towards Terminator? I'm not lying. I haven't seen a time-traveling robot yet. Okay, they're not coming back to get us. When we think about augmentation and replacement, I want you to think about how can I do things differently, redo workflows and operations, bring the human to light. And then finally, I want you to bring creativity, all your ideas, all your gut feel, and intuition. Those things matter, but far too often in the data and AI space, it gets forgotten. You might have a gut feel that this isn't good. You might have an idea to do something differently that the data and AI doesn't pick up on. Don't be afraid to share it. So how do we become more future ready? We've got to bring context and nuance to AI. It's about prompting and AI orchestration. I really enjoy going and seeing the symphony, right? My children are musicians. There's one person who brings it all together, and that's the conductor of the orchestra. We should all be conductors of AI orchestration. One key thing that the human has to be a part of is ethical discernment. Regulation and legislation is moving very, very quickly. And if we want AI to succeed, we better be in compliance. We need to be resilient. I'm going to talk about that one in just a minute. But let's look at the very bottom. I want us to be strategic product and process thinkers. Stop thinking of AI as a tool that just you buy and it solves it. It's a tool that works sometimes, doesn't work sometimes. Sometimes I don't even want to use it. So we have to strategically think about that. Now this next slide might be my favorite one in the whole presentation, and I'll show you why. This slide, if you look at the image on the far right, these are the top 10 fastest growing skills by 2030. How many of those are human related? The majority of them are. Number 1 and number 2 are pretty clear. AI and big data, network and cybersecurity, privacy, all of those things. Obviously, those things matter. But look at number 3 through 10. Technological literacy, creative thinking, resilience, flexibility, and agility, curiosity and lifelong learning, leadership and social influence. Number 8 is interesting. Talent management. Do you realize we're going to see a future, maybe very quickly, where a manager manages both a human and an agentic system? How do we manage that? Number 9, analytical thinking. And then number 10, a very big one on my mind, the environment. How do we protect the environment? One thing I love that is up there are my 3 C's, right? Curiosity, creativity or creative thinking, and then finally, analytical thinking or critical thinking. I love this slide because it shows me we're not being forgotten. The news might say we are, but we're not. But what matters is if we're not trying to be more human, we can get passed by. So, I like to have in my presentations a call to action. You have 3 things to think about. Number 1, I want you to audit for yourself your premium human skills. What are you good at? What do you thrive doing that a human should be the thing doing it? Find those skills out and then magnify them. Number 2, I'm gonna maybe give Priscilla a lot of work here. Build an AI literacy program, whatever that looks like. If you need help, you can connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll help you set it up. And then number 3, I want you to redefine what success with AI looks like. There's a lot of noise out there that it doesn't work. It works really well when it's done correctly. So with that, I'm gonna share, I'm an open book. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. I've known Priscilla for years. This was the first time I got to meet her in person. Cesar, who presented yesterday, I met all the way back in 2019. I don't think I had seen him again till yesterday. I love connecting with people. I love helping and mentoring. Please connect with me. My publisher probably wants me to talk about my books more. There you go. My latest book came out just this month, and it's called Data and AI Skills. Gain the confidence you need to succeed. I think it's my most important book, so I hope that people will pick it up. And with that, I will try and say this right. Obrigado. Thank you. I appreciate it. Please come say hi to me after the show. And then I'm going to welcome back to the stage Guilherme, who's going to close us out. And he told me I get to wait right here.
Thank you, Jordan. Por favor, mais palmas. Thank you for the high quality content. You are showman. Jordan, like I told you on the backstage, I know that it's your first time here in Brazil. We appreciate your effort to come here and share your quality content for all of us. And I want to make you one question. If you can resume all these 2 days, because you saw all the speakers yesterday, part of the speakers today, if you can resume these 2 days of DWX in a couple words, which words will be that?
Oh, amazing. And I travel the world speaking. By far one of the best events I've ever been to, and I don't say that lightly. I have events that I really enjoy. I hope everybody here really appreciates what Guilherme and the team have done. In 3 years, you went from 500 to thousands.
Yeah.
That right there, I know this is more than a couple words.
No problems.
But one thing I want to share is this also shows me people in this country are excited about AI. And they're excited about data. So don't ever miss the opportunity to network, to connect, and to enjoy and learn from this. But amazing is truly the word.
Thank you. This is not our plan, but I'm gonna ask our guests, all the people, if they have some questions for you. So, excuse me, but it will be in Portuguese right now, and then I'm calling Lily. Where is Lily? Our translator. Please come here. She will translate for Jason. Quem tem perguntas? Eu vou pegar 2 pessoas aí para fazer pergunta para o Jordan.
And don't be shy, I won't bite.
Eu vou aqui e aqui depois.
Hi there, Jordan. Right here? Here.
Yeah.
So everybody's saying here that AI is not replacing people. And I really loved your talk, and especially about this AI literacy and how we need to learn new skills. From my perspective, I believe that quite a lot of people will be replaced, but new jobs, new roles are being developed. What's your message to those who are afraid of losing their jobs and what they should do in order to stay relevant?
I think it's an excellent question. And in reality, yes, every revolution that happens, jobs do get replaced, but new ones get created. The key with this one is how fast it is going. In order to make sure that you stay relevant, It's about creating your own personal system of learning. What are the skills I need? Am I using this effectively in my job? Again, it's not about getting faster at your job. It's about getting more effective at your job. So to do that, it's about studying skills, developing. New jobs are coming. And if you're ahead of others, that makes you more marketable. The key is this is going very fast. So I encourage you today, start to figure out what skills you want. Again, if you don't know, please shoot me a message on LinkedIn or talk to me after. I'm happy to share my thoughts.
Boa tarde, vou fazer em português. Nós estamos vivendo hoje aqui no Brasil e principalmente em Santa Catarina uma falta muito grande de mão de obra na tecnologia. E nós também vivemos na área pública, da qual eu participo, um problema sério do etarismo. E a IA hoje, ela através do letramento digital, e essas pessoas mais 50, mais 60, que hoje estavam fora do mercado de trabalho, tem um contexto muito forte. Até quanto o investimento em letramento digital para a cobertura de postos de trabalho dá a oportunidade dessas pessoas com mais idade ingressarem ou se reinventarem dentro do mercado de trabalho? Obrigado.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's an excellent question. And I don't think it's just here. In the United States, that same fear or thought process is occurring. What I would say is there are so many free resources that exist right now in AI. You just might not know where to go to find those resources. And so YouTube is one of the best resources out there to just ask it questions. The other thing I think is very important when it comes to learning and the opportunity is to take the time, maybe 15 to 30 minutes a day, that's it, to play in one of the AI sandboxes, whether it's Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, you name it. For 15 to 30 minutes a day, ask it questions. And I encourage you to ask it that exact question and watch how good the response comes back. This is where you can experiment. This is where you can learn. This is where one of the opportunities is. So I would encourage you, 15 to 30 minutes a day, research and use AI. And number 2, take advantage of all the free resources. One good example, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, one of the top universities on the planet, gives resources away for free that can help develop those skills. If we're not taking advantage of those, that's on us. But a lot of the time, we don't know where to begin. So 15 to 30 minutes a day on just practice. And number 2, find those free programs that are really going to enhance your skills that make you more marketable and give you more opportunity.
Hello. Hi. In fact, my question is similar to the first one because I read the same report that you show about future jobs, and says a lot about a lot of jobs we will lose because of the advance of technology, of course, but a lot of jobs will born because of artificial intelligence. Most of jobs we don't even know the names. Do you have a list? For example, man, you have to study this for this future job that doesn't exist yet, because that's my opinion about a buzzword that say prompt engineer. Prompt engineer is a job. I don't believe it's a job. I believe it's a skill. Yeah. Do you agree with that? Do you have some recommendation? Because I'm really lost.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting question. I don't have a list of jobs. If I did, I'd be a billionaire, right? But what I would say is you're 100% right, that we don't know. My children could have jobs I've never heard of. But it's those key skills, and it really is those key human skills. Have natural curiosity every single day. I read articles. I have 2 books with me just on this trip, and I'm only here 4 full days, right? I'm always reading, I'm asking questions, I'm experimenting, because what that's gonna do is you're gonna start to see jobs get created that interest you. And then you know, okay, I wanna develop to this, I want to develop to that. The prompt engineer was all the rage. I don't know if that job exists now. They were getting paid so much more money. Now everybody's a prompt engineer. And so the other thing I'd say about this is interesting is I don't know how many jobs will be fully replaced, but part of the job. So let's say I have my job, it's 100, and by the way, AI is very good at being a chief AI officer. Very good. But let's say it could do 40% of my job. The other 60 is all me. I have to then manage that 40% or come up with new things to do. That's why I think AI lets us be more human, because now I have 40% more time available to think strategically, to create. And that, I don't like the word disruption very much. That has a negative connotation. I like the word creation. AI allows us to create. So it might not be a new job, but 40% of my job gets to be new, and I get to create something I like. And now I know there are others. If we're done, come see me after and I'll answer as best I can.